Are your team's AI prompts hidden in random Slack threads, Google Docs, or email chains? If so, you need to create a prompt library. Hi, I'm Daphne, Marketing Director at VeraContent, a global content marketing agency based in Spain. And in today's video, I'm handing it over to my colleague Naomi, an AI specialist, who's going to show you step by step how to build a prompt library in Monday.com that will save your team tons of time, keep everyone consistent, and make AI so much easier to scale. Naomi originally shared this demo in one of our live webinars on AI for marketing teams, so let's jump straight into the demo.
This is a prompt library that we've built for the purposes of this webinar, but it's very similar to the one that we use internally at VeraContent. We use Monday.com. That's because it's already part of our workflow. It's a tool that, we're all used to. We already use it in project management and team coordination. So adding this prompt library to this tool made sense for us. But just so you know, you could absolutely do something similar in other tools like Notion, Airtable, or you could even replicate something in Google Sheets if that's, what your team uses. But we do definitely recommend Monday.com. We found it very useful. So this is what ours looks like. As you can see, you have here all the different items, which are different prompts, and you've got a load of columns here. I'm going to show you how we create one from scratch on Monday.com. I'll just give you the first few fields so you can get a feel of it. So we're going to click here to this little add item to workspace, and we're going to create a new board. Another way that you can do this is you can create it in an Excel sheet and upload it as well if you do already have a lot of things to mass upload. I'm just going to show you how to create it directly in Monday though. So to create the board type, you can give it a name. So we'll call it prompt library. There we go. You can select, the type of board, whether it's going to be shareable with guests, privates. You can call the first items different names. You can call them items, projects. You could call it prompts, but we're just keeping it as items for now. And then you create the board. And it will do its thing. Here we go. So here we go. So this is what the Monday board looks like. In item, this is where we would put our name or title of the prompt. It's really important that it's something short and descriptive because you want to be able to scan your library quickly and see what every prompt does. So for example, a VeraContent landing page creator, which is something we had in the other board. In the second column, something that we would usually do, as you can see, this is it's a default board structure that Monday has come up with, but we're not going to be using this. We would add another column. You can scroll to here to this little plus sign to add a column. And then there are all these different types of columns that you can add. For this next item that we're going to use, we're just going to use a normal run-of-the-mill text column. And in this text column is where we would put description. So we write a description of what the prompt does and some instructions for whoever's using it. So this would be a little text field, and whoever's, uploading their prompt, you can just type in here and write that. Something that's really cool from Monday.com is Monday has something they call work docs, which are kind of similar to, like a Google Drive doc. And that's where we've been storing our prompts. So we can add another column, and you'll see it doesn't come up here automatically. But if we share it and look for doc, you can add a Monday doc to the board. And we would call this one prompt. And then in this little doc, you create a new doc here. And once it's done loading, you can see that it's kind of, like a Google Drive type thing, but it has AI features. You can start from templates and things like that. So I'm going to go back to our ready-made prompt library here. So I've already explained these three first fields. Then some other fields that we've added. Well, because with these first three fields, you could essentially have a prompt library. You wouldn't really need anything else. But we do think that it is better to have labels and ways to categorize your prompts, especially when you're having, a really long prompt library with lots of prompts in it, so that your team can easily find a prompt that's relevant to them. So here we have a column which we call best tool to use. This is because AI tools can differ in functions and in output, and some prompts work better with some tools than with others. So it's really useful if your team uses multiple tools and needs to know which prompt is optimized for what. And it also helps track performance across different platforms too. As you can see here as well, you can select multiple different options. So, if a specific prompt works well with 2 different tools, you could add that easily. Another column that we have here is use case. It's a multi-select field again. Here, I'd say this is probably the most important column. Here, you're going to describe in 1 or 2 words max what this prompt is for. So we have brainstorming, brief creation, content guidelines, content repurposing, everything that your prompt could do for you. It's best to categorize it here. I think it's better to have too many categories than not enough, because otherwise it's going to be very difficult to filter between prompts. Here we have another column, which is team. So we select what department the prompt is meant for. In our case, we have marketing, sales, transversal, which means it's relevant to all teams, social media, all these different ones. Obviously, if this prompt library is just for one specific team, you wouldn't need to make this column. Another column that we have is output type. So this basically is a label field. So you can see you have different labels here. So you can only select one of them. And you choose what kind of result the prompt generates. So if the prompt is for generating copy, then you select copy. If it's to generate an analysis, then analysis. If it's for a specific document, you have the document tag. So it's for all different tags, just so you know what to expect once you've deployed this prompt. Then here we have a client column. As you can see, these are all internal because we don't want to share our clients' prompts. But here, this is only relevant if you do work, across different clients, or if if you're an agency or you're a multi-brand team or something like that. If not, then you might not need a column like this. Here we have, I'll make it a little bit bigger so you can see what it says, link to custom GPT. Oh, there it is. This is optional, but if a prompt is designed for a specific custom GPT that we've built, then we can link it here. So as you can see here, we have one. This is a GPT for creating a certain sales document. So we already have the prompt and the GPT link. Prompt responsible in this little column here. And this field it's a person field, so you can tag a person. So we go here and I can tag myself, for instance. And basically, it's the person who's in charge of keeping the prompt up to date and working. It's surprisingly important because prompts can break, or the tools they're meant for might evolve or change. So having clear ownership does help maintain quality. Then some other cool fields that we have are a rating field. So it's a simple 1 to 5 star scale so that users can quickly, assess how well a prompt performs. Anyone can check, I think this is a 4-star prompt, then you can check it. And then this is a little last updated field, which is just an automatic field. And it's basically the last person who made any changes to any of these fields, and it will automatically log it, just so you can keep an eye on who's been using what prompt. Here, you can see that we have these little comment boxes. If you click on this, it's basically like a little discussion board for each prompt. So, here I just wrote an example. Hey, everyone on the board, check out this prompt. But you could use this to give feedback on prompts as well. If a prompt didn't work for you, or even if a prompt was amazing and you really want to, sing its praises, you could write a little comment here so that everyone using the board knows. You can also add files here. So you could even add a file to, what your output was for a specific prompt. So this is a really useful feature as well. Then I'm going to show you an extra feature that we added that's totally optional, but it turned out to be kind of useful, which is prompt testing within Monday.com. So Monday.com has a growing number of built-in AI features. So while we were creating this prompt library, we thought, what if we could test prompts without even leaving the tool? So just to see if we could give people a quick preview of what a prompt is supposed to do. The idea wasn't to replace ChatGPT or any of the more advanced tools. It was more about making the library more interactive. And it turned out to be really helpful for people who are browsing the library and they want to get a sense of what kind of output a prompt might generate. That said, though, this is powered by Monday's AI, so the formatting is usually kind of off. The quality probably won't match what you'd get using the same prompt in ChatGPT or Gemini, say. So I wouldn't recommend using this to generate polished results, just to use it as a first kind of look. So I'll show you how it works. Here in these last few fields, we have inputs. This is where you would enter whatever variable the prompt needs, so like a topic, a brand, a product, or a different tone. If the prompt includes a placeholder, you could fill that in for testing. This little cool button here is the test prompt button. And when you click it, it triggers an automation that sends the prompt to Monday's AI. Behind the scenes, it pulls the prompt text from the linked work doc, which is at the beginning, and it replaces any variables with what you entered in inputs. Output is the AI's response, which appears here in the text field. Again, the formatting isn't perfect, but it lets you see how the structure and tone of the prompt performs. And finally, here we added just a little view out, just in case the output is long or hard to read in that small tiny field. It creates a Monday work doc with the full output so you can view it more clearly. So as you can see, this is something that Monday's AI created. The formatting is kind of off, but actually it's not terrible, and it does give you an idea of what that prompt can do. So this testing feature, it helps prompt owners and users quickly evaluate whether a prompt is working as intended, and you don't need to switch tools or open up ChatGPT every time. The automation to run this is quite easy to set up. Here you can see in this little automate button with the tiny robots, this is where all of Monday's automations live. So if we open this up, you can see that this is the automation that we have. We don't have any other automations on this test board, but we usually use a lot of automations in our boards in general. And you can see that when test prompt is clicked, so we select the column test prompt, which is where the little button was, then use AI to fill in output. This use AI is basically Monday's AI that will interpret the prompt. So here you can see all these weird characters, but this basically comes up when you click on one of these variables. These variables are the columns that are in your board. So you click prompt, and that's the code for the prompt variable. And you click inputs down here, and that's the input for the variable. So you don't have to manually copy and paste the prompt into here. It will take it automatically from the Monday doc. And then it fills in the output with that. So that's the full setup. Another important thing, actually, we included an instructions tab at the top of the board, which is where we explain how to use the library. We think this is something that's really useful as well, because people might just see this board and be like, I don't know what to do with it. So it's really useful to have a little pinned board here to just explain, what a prompt library is, what it's for, and we just have here some guidelines on, also, some guidelines on how to write effective prompts, because maybe some team members might not be, super aware of how to do that. So it gives you an idea of a structure for a prompt, some best practices, some prompt engineering techniques. So we just here have, just some general guidelines on using the prompt library so that everyone uses it to the best of its abilities. So yeah, that's the full setup. It's simple to build and pretty easy to maintain, especially, if you're working collaboratively across a team. And I think it's incredibly helpful when you're using AI consistently across your organization.
And that was Naomi showing exactly how we set up a working prompt library inside Monday.com. Now let's do a quick recap. Having one place where your team stores and tests prompts means less wasted time, more consistency, and faster onboarding. If you want to start building your own, we've created a free AI toolkit to guide you. You'll find the link in the comments. At VeriContent, we help global brands manage content across different markets and languages, and AI is becoming a big part of how we work smarter. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more marketing tips and insights. And if you liked this video, don't miss the next one.